With the sequel trilogy all wrapped up and Star Wars moving on to the next era of stories, it is interesting to look back on the protagonist of that sequel trilogy, Rey. Rey is a complicated character, though less because her character is actually complex and more because of the way the Star Wars fandom feels about her. There are many fans who love Rey. She was the first female live-action main protagonist in Star Wars, and she no doubt has inspired many for that reason alone. Then there are the fans that Rey just didn't really work for, whether that be for justifiable reasons such as character or, not so justifiable reasons such as sexism. Contrast this with Star Wars' first protagonist from 1977, Luke Skywalker, and you will see a stark difference. Luke is near universally loved. He's hailed as one of the greatest cinema heroes of all time. His story from lowly moisture farmer to galactic hero is one that is extremely easy for the audience to resonate with. So why then did the same thing not happen with Rey? After all, she shares a similar journey to Luke. Well, I'm going to compare Luke and Rey in their first respective films to show you how A New Hope sets Luke up to become one of the most iconic heroes of all time, while The Force Awakens dooms Rey. We literally don't even need to delve into any of the other following films. But anyway, let's do it.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic. This is where
the protagonist stuck on a desert planet becomes a kick-ass galactic hero.
Let's just get the obvious one out of the way first, not only because you are all likely familiar with it, but because we can actually build off of this critique later to explain why Rey doesn't work nearly as well as Luke. Rey in The Force Awakens essentially has the same character arc as Luke does in A New Hope, and it's really not that difficult to notice. I mean, they didn't even try for subtlety. Luke feels trapped on a desert wasteland of a planet destined to become no one like his aunt and uncle. Rey feels trapped on a desert wasteland of a planet destined to become no one like this random old woman. Luke finds a droid that has information that is critical to the success of an insurgency group. Rey finds a droid that has information that is critical to the success of an insurgency group. Luke gets swept into an adventure that leads him to becoming a hero of said insurgency group. Rey gets swept into an adventure that leads her to becoming a hero of said insurgency group. It's effectively the exact same journey. So, inherently, when you see something magical for the second time, it isn't going to be as magical as it was the first time. I used to love Twinkies. I'd absolutely relish the first Twinkie, yet by the time I was halfway through the second one, I was already over the flavor and just wanted to stop eating it. And it's the same thing with Rey in The Force Awakens. Had there not been almost 40 years between A New Hope and The Force Awakens, the audience would have been even more anti-Rey because it would be stupidly clear that she was Luke in all but name.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it, what do you want?
As I alluded to earlier, Luke and Rey both began their stories with the same goal. They both want to escape their respective desert planets and make something of themselves. I don't blame The Force Awakens for trying this again with Rey. Well, I mean, I do.
You lack imagination.
Lawrence Kasdan, J.J. Abrams, and Michael Ant.
Let me rephrase that. I can understand why The Force Awakens gave Rey the same goal as Luke. It worked remarkably well for Luke, after all. He did go down as one of the greatest heroes to ever grace the screen. I imagine Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams envisioned the same thing for Rey. But there are reasons beyond redundancy that Luke's goal works and Rey's does not. Luke is motivated to leave Tatooine for identifiable, personal reasons. All of his friends have left to pursue better lives. He's long since been told that his own father was a pilot who traveled the galaxy, and we witness him being kept grounded by his firm and demanding uncle. We understand exactly and intimately why Luke wants off this dusty rock. With Rey, all we get are small moments like these. And they work, yes. In fact, I really do enjoy Rey's introduction, but these moments aren't nearly as powerful nor as personal as Luke's. Furthermore, when it comes time for each of these characters to leave their desert planet, Luke does it for a multitude of reasons. He wants to satiate his longing to leave Tatooine. He wants to avenge the brutal murder of his aunt and uncle at the hands of the Empire. He wants to learn to become a Jedi like his father before him. He wants to help Leia and, by extension, the Rebel Alliance. Rey, on the other hand, leaves Jakku because the First Order is shooting at her and she has to escape. In other words, she leaves Jakku because the plot forces her to. Which brings up another reason why Luke's character works so much better than Rey's. Luke made a choice to leave, and Rey didn't. Luke could have easily remained on Tatooine and not gotten involved with Ben Kenobi, the droids, or the Rebellion, but he did, because of all the motivation and goals the film had already given him. Rey does not make a choice, and leaves the planet because the movie needs her and Finn to fly the Millennium Falcon so that Han Solo and Chewie can find them, which really gets the story moving. One feels natural and organic, and the other feels artificially forced. Rey spends most of the movie wanting to return to Jakku, but before she can, she is captured. Throughout The Force Awakens, things keep happening to Rey. She doesn't make things happen. She doesn't make her own choices. The plot does that for her. The movie portrays her as this awesome hero who solves every problem on her own, but in reality, she is an extremely passive character masquerading as an extremely active one. Generally, when you're telling a story, you want your protagonist to be as active as possible. You want them to make their own choices, which both guides the plot and builds character. If your character is too passive, then it generally results in a boring protagonist because they're not making choices that reflect character change.
Hey, knock it off! There's a kid back there!
I'm in danger!
Throughout almost the entirety of A New Hope, Luke feels out of his depth. He's just a simple farmer after all. He has little to no combative skills and has never, as far as he knows, been off Tatooine in his entire life. And A New Hope isn't afraid to make Luke look weak and inexperienced because, well, he is. So when Luke gets into dangerous situations, we fear for him. He's just an average guy. He's like us. There's legitimate tension whenever Luke is in danger, whether it be from Tusken Raiders, a trash compactor, or Darth Vader.
Have you not?
Luke is constantly getting help from his friends in A New Hope, which strengthens his desire to do right by them in the following two films. Now let's kick it over to Rey. At really no point in The Force Awakens does it ever feel like she is in true mortal danger. The movie shows us that she has lived alone on Jakku since she was a child. It shows us that she can take on a group of thugs alone with ease. It shows us that she is an incredible pilot. The film essentially never allows Rey to feel like she is in actual danger. Let's do a quick exercise showing how many times Luke is in danger and needs help compared to Rey. Ben Kenobi saves Luke from the Tusken Raiders and again from the two criminals in the cantina. C-3PO saves Luke and the others from the trash compactor aboard the Death Star. Kenobi again saves Luke when he sacrifices himself to distract Vader and the Stormtroopers. Finally, Han Solo saves Luke from being shot down by Vader so that Luke can destroy the Death Star. Rey, on the other hand, saves herself from the thugs on Jakku. She bails Finn out by pulling off an incredible maneuver to allow him to shoot down the pursuing TIE fighter. She saves Finn from the Rathtar, she fixes the Millennium Falcon for Han Solo, she resists Kylo Ren's mind domination attempt, she frees herself from captivity, she defeats Kylo Ren in a lightsaber duel. As you can see, Luke is constantly in danger and in need of help, while Rey rarely, if ever, needs help because she's never in danger.
I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
And if she is in danger, she just gets herself out of it. When your protagonist is so strong and skilled that they never feel threatened, well, then your protagonist begins to feel boring. There is no tension regarding Rey in The Force Awakens. I'd argue that even though the movie tells us that Rey is the central protagonist, it makes it feel like Finn is the protagonist, which is honestly why I came out of that movie thinking that he was the more interesting character of the two. Because Finn actually struggles. We feel a sense that he's in danger throughout this film. Everything that Rey lacks, Finn has. It's ironic that even though Rey's character on the surface is so similar to Luke's, Finn's, in essence, is actually closer to the mark. Which is why it's such a shame that they decided to throw his character away after The Force Awakens.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
We already touched on character motivation, but that was more so in the short term. Why did each character decide to leave their desert planet? We established that Luke had actual goals and reasons for deciding to do so, while Rey was forced to leave because the First Order was shooting at her. But what I want to look at now is why do these characters continue to move forward even after they've left their desert planets? Why do they continue to fight? Well, with both characters, their goal transitions from an internal desire to leave their planets to something more external and plot-based. They both seek to fight the Empire/First Order, but underneath this external goal, we always clearly understand Luke's internal personal desire to bring down the Empire. The Empire apparently killed his father. The Empire killed the only family he had ever known and destroyed his home. The Empire killed his mentor. Meanwhile, Rey decides to fight the First Order because, well, she's kind of forced into it. They attack her on Jakku and then capture her on Takodana. She never actively chooses to fight the First Order like Luke actively chooses to fight the Empire. She's merely along for the ride. Throughout the original trilogy, we never forget why Luke opposes the Empire, even if he eventually gains new motivation in saving his father from the dark side. With the sequel trilogy, it feels like Rey is opposing the First Order because she's the hero and it's her job to oppose the villains. In the end, Rey truly does just come across as a failed attempt at replicating Luke, and you don't even have to go beyond the first movie to see this. It seems that J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy wanted Rey to be just like Luke, only without the whole struggling and needing help aspect of his character, only without the personal goals and motivations. Which is why Rey didn't work nearly as well as Luke, because failure and leaning on friends is integral to who Luke is, as are his clear and relatable desires. It's how he learned his lessons and grew as a character. If you remove those very critical elements from Luke, what do you have left? You have a character who never struggles, who has thin motivation to act, who just isn't that interesting. If you strip those things away from the character of Luke, you're left with the character of Rey.